Monkeypox is a viral infectious disease that clinically looks a bit like a mild form of smallpox. It was first identified as a human infection in Central Africa in 1970. And during the 1970s, a lot of interest was taken in these pox-type diseases because it was, of course, during that decade that smallpox was being eliminated. So where there were outbreaks of other pox-like illnesses, they were investigated pretty closely. For many, many years, it was restricted to remote rural communities in Central and West Africa. And then really we've got to roll the clock forward till about the 2000s, when there was a big outbreak in, well, I say big, tens of cases in the United States associated with the importation as sort of exotic pets of Gambian rats. These in turn infected prairie dogs, and this led to a number of cases in the United States. As a disease, you're showing some rather gruesome pictures of the sort of vesicles that you get with this disease, which do look a lot like smallpox vesicles, it has to be said, while I'm speaking. These usually come on after 6 to 16 days of fairly close contact with another human case, or much more commonly in the original cases, with exposure to infected animals, particularly the butchering of primates for bushmeat in the Congo and things like that in the 1970s. Latterly, cases have always been associated either with contact with imported animals, or with travel. What's unusual and of interest about this recent number of cases in the 11 countries that they've been reported is that apparently a number of the cases don't have any particular contact with someone who's been travelling abroad. So therefore, they've demanded rather closer attention.
There have been the reports actually saying here that the monkeypox campaign will target gay men. Why is that?
Well, a number of these current cases, as I understand it, have occurred in men who have sex with men. Now, the question you've got here slightly is, are you seeing them here because that's where we're looking? I mean, clearly sexual encounters are, of their very nature, close encounters. But historically, with monkeypox, it was possible to get spread within households as well. Households, where people were living on a family basis. I think perhaps the emphasis in the story on gay men arises partly from the fact that there is some concern that, if you like, this virus, having got out of the rainforest, might now be establishing a new niche, a new environmental niche, as, if you like, a sexually transmitted disease.
Right.
If it is, I think there's one or two things perhaps to bear in mind about it. The first thing is, you're only infectious with monkeypox, as far as anyone knows, once you've got symptoms.
Yes.
When you've got symptoms, that's pretty visible. You've just been showing the pictures of that. The incubation period, I think I've mentioned, is something like 4 to 21 days, usually 6 to 16 days. So it's quite long. And finally, there's no carrier state in which you're infectious, like there is, say, with syphilis or HIV. So if it is being transmitted that way, it's the sort of disease that sexually transmitted infection services, if they're functioning well, should be able to deal with pretty effectively.